Good morning, Mr. Ryan. I do hope you're well today. Are you still shoveling out from under the snow? Ouch. Watch the claws, bud. Yeah, I've been seeing that on the weather. It's funny that if you look at the weather charts, it goes all the way down to Texas, and then comes up then comes right up by where I'm at, and sort of goes just north of us. So it's colder here, but we don't seem to be getting all the other bad stuff. James, if you'd be interested in joining me, I'll send you a link. You can jump in too if you'd like. Time to go, huh? Let me put my glasses on. Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people up that way. Funny how accustomed. Okay, funny how people who moved south to Florida from north and snow areas seem to adjust to the warmth down there so quickly. Almost all of our YouTube friends are from Michigan or Indiana or someplace up there, and yet they're chilled if it gets down to 60 now. So I guess they have acclimatized to it already. I used to work with a guy from Minnesota, St. Paul area, and he was always freezing. He hated the cold. Sorry. Have you been back to New York since all the snow hit? Good morning, Mr. Wheeler. Well, we wouldn't want to delay you from doing that. That's important. Carol, there's the car key we've been looking for. His name is Teddy Pockets, James, and he's becoming my mascot. Anytime I get online, seems like he's got to come up here and, make an appearance. He's about a nearly 20-pound cat now. He's pretty big. He's bigger than all of our other cats, not just weight wise, but just taller, longer. And when I first found him, he was nearly frozen to death, and he was so little that I was able to put him in my shirt pocket to get him warm him back up. So that's why I named him Pockets. And then my wife added the Teddy part to it. But he's quite the character. He's a daddy's boy, as they say. My wife says. He hangs around with me most of the time. But he's quite the character. Well, I wonder I can't see. Well, Mike, I'm glad you came by. Always good to see you in here, buddy. And Carol, I got to catch up, see what you said. Well, be safe going to the vet. Hope everything works out all right there. All right, Mike. Take care, and we'll see you later. Excuse me. I'm acting the bumpkin part here today. Okay, Carol, that's cool. Are your daughters in swim classes, or is she a competitive swimmer? And James, the story of that cat is when I was still working, we had several offices around the upper end of the state, and one of my coworkers was from further east from here, out at Kingsport, up near the mountains, closer to the mountains, or where I grew up. And he came down to get some supplies from me one time, down there in Knoxville. And when he got there, we heard something in his truck and went out and looked, and we found 2 kittens. This was on a Thursday afternoon, I think. And so we got them out of the truck. They were just little bitty guys. They weren't very old at all, 2 or 3 weeks maybe. Their eyes were open, but that's about it. And he got to thinking, he thinks he remembered seeing a female cat moving some kittens around their office outside. So he figures that's where they came from. But of course, by now he's 100 miles away from there, and it's kind of cold. So I took those 2 home and gave one of them away that night. And my intention was to give both of them away, but one of them didn't go the first night, and we still have her. That's my wife's cat, Chloe, and she bottle fed him, was feeding. Anyway, he came back to work the next day and came into my office and said something. He said, I think there's another cat in the truck. This was in the back of an open bed pickup, and he'd been driving in 20, 25 degree weather. So they went out and looked, and sure enough, they found this guy, and he was nearly frozen. I mean, he was so cold. I've never felt a colder cat. And only thing I could think of was put him in my pocket and try to warm him up. And so I did. And somewhere I've got a picture of that. He was just a little bitty guy, but now he's not a little bitty guy. He'd still get in my pocket probably if he could, but I'd have to have a really big pocket. But he's a cuddler now. He likes to snuggle. Well, that would be good, Carol. there's a, I don't know if this is appropriate time to talk about such things under circumstances, but there's a really inspiring commercial out. I don't know if you've seen it. I can't remember who it's for, but it's a young swimmer who lost both her legs, and I think she was a orphan from Russia, and somebody adopted her in this country, and she's now a Paralympic swimmer, record holder. Pretty inspirational in her case. What does WSI stand for, James? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's my buddy. He hangs out with me most of the time. Carol, he sleeps with me. He's real particular about how I'm laying, though. I'm not laying the right way, he'll get down, but he has to be able to see from where I'm at to the door in case anything's going on. He's very nosy, so he has to be able to, participate if there's anything happening. He's about, I think they're 4, maybe going on 5 now. But he's a big old boy. He's a far cry from what he was when I found him, or when we found him. James, one of the hardest things I ever did when I was a yonker was take I guess it was Red Cross did it back then, but life-saving techniques to be certified as a lifesaver, lifeguard, lifesaver. I had to take it in Boy Scouts if I wanted to be an Eagle. And that was one of the hardest things I ever did, at least at that age. It was grueling, to say the least. Yeah, I'm sure we didn't even get all of it, but it was pretty tough. I think there were 3 of us that went to get that were in it, that knew each other, that were in that course, and it was just rough, to say the least. One of the instructors was a pretty burly guy, and we were all the time having to rescue him in the water, which meant he was halfway beating us up, which is realistic, actually. People fight like hell when they think they're about to drown. How old is she, Carol? If I may ask, you don't have to say, of course. Yeah, I agree. We had our kids in swim classes at an early age. Now they never were interested in swimming competitively or anything like that, but I thought it was important that they learn how to swim young. And I think they were both in the pool probably before they were 2 anyway. James and I both have older daughters. I think we both have two, if I remember correctly. Now what? Yeah, kitty butt. Hey, Tina. Oh, my Lord. I think my oldest one's 37. Hey, Lynn. You got the kitty butt shot, too. Now he's going to get down. You've embarrassed him. He's sensitive. He's like, he may come back if he thinks nobody's talking about him. Now I've officially arrived because Lynn has made the coffee show. I have to thank her and Josh for kind of letting me fill in while they were off or until they come back or whatever they decide to do. Excuse me. I am a hillbilly manager showing today, that's for sure. Well, since there's 3 or 4 people in here today, anyway, I'll ask the question. Said, does anybody else in here have a favorite brand of coffee, or is anybody else in here a coffee snob? I was told I was a coffee snob because I like to grind my own beans and do all that. A friend of mine got me spoiled. He got me started on fresh coffee, and I've been spoiled ever since. Oh, so that's what happened to you, James. I didn't realize you had the power got knocked out. Hopefully it came on before you got cold. Of course, up in New Hampshire, you probably have another way of heating the house. I'm telling you, there's nothing like fresh beans. Cracking beans, that smell when you first crack open beans to grind them, is just unbelievable. It's one of my favorite smells in the whole world. I'm I'm currently drinking Death Wish coffee, and I actually like it quite a lot. Oh, the Sugar House has a grinder. Is that for coffee, or is it something they use in the sugar process, James? I'd like to see that process sometimes. I know that's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of sap to make a gallon of sugar or a syrup. Yep, Thursday was a good show, James. Well, Tina, that happens sometimes. I've gotten, I've gone back to getting even more finicky lately. I've bought a temperature controlled pot, and I'm doing pour overs mostly right now. Oh, well, that makes sense, James. That would be good. Fresh ground coffee and locally produced maple syrup and pancakes, I'd say that would be good. Zingerman's, that's new to me, but that's not unusual. There's a lot. Do they have their own branded coffee, Carol? It has their name on it, or they just have somebody? I mean, do they just have fresh coffee? Lynn, I can't remember. Were you from Southern Michigan? I'm pretty sure you were in the mitten, but were you down to the south end, or were you up north? I know there's some. They used to sugar in Michigan too. I didn't know if they still did that up there or not. He's already been talking about that, Carol. He was relating how he's already thinking about moving south again. Said it happens every winter. I know some people even complain about the winter here, but we don't have much winter anymore. We haven't had much winter in years, to be honest. Okay, Carol, be safe. Be careful driving. Oh, I thought you said thought you said surgery. You're saying sugary. Well, I know they used to. Yeah, I know you was. We, we wouldn't want to get that mistaken. Ah, so you're going to be down there when Walt rides the Tower of Terror, James? That'd be fun. From what I hear, he absolutely hates that ride. So that should be interesting. I've made a donation, so I'm hoping we can get him up to at least riding it twice. The thousand people watching might be a tough one to get, but I think we'll get the money to him. Man, it's not a better cause right now than giving it to Pete or for Pete. James, once upon a time I skied some. I wasn't very good, but I skied enough to, not kill myself, I guess. But uh, and we used to have ski resorts down here in the mountains, and I don't know if they get enough snow most years these days to even open. It's it's bad, but I worked when I was still in the aviation business. I worked weekends for a long time, and a friend of my guy I worked with, and he was from the guy from Minnesota. In fact, he had worked at Mount Hood in Oregon, and was, or I think it was Hood. Maybe it's there. I am. I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, so he kind of taught me to ski a little bit, and we used to go on. We'd go on Wednesdays when most people were at work. We were off, and we'd go Wednesday evenings to places that had night skiing, and that was just a load of fun. I loved it. After I hurt my back, I was kind of done for. I was always afraid to go back and try it after that. But I tell you, there's nothing like skiing at night in the quiet, and all you get's how snow muffles all sounds, and uh, up on the mountain where we were at, sometimes you could see off down into the valleys and see all the little lights, as some poet once said, twinkling on and off. And uh, but it was really fun. I really enjoyed that. It was. I really enjoyed night skiing. It was just so different. Unless they were making snow, which down here, even when we used to get snow, most places had to make some snow at night. That's noisy if you've ever done it. Been around those machines. They're just huge air blasters that spray that stuff out on the course. But when that's not happening and it's just quiet, I mean, even when there's other people around skiing, you don't really. It's not loud because, like I say, the snow and the trees, if you're in the mountain or in the wooded areas, just muffle all that sound, and it was just beautiful. I mean, that was absolutely my favorite time to go skiing. So, James, you're in the Northeast. Who do you fly? Who do you? Are there deals from flying in your part of the country to Florida, or is that just you just suck it up and pay the full price, or who do you fly down on from up there? If you don't mind my asking. We used to get pretty good deals if we were willing to go to Nashville, drive to Nashville. We could fly northwest, or not northwest, God, southwest, and fly down to Florida. A lot of times for $39 or $49 one way, and then for a while, couple times, we went down from here, and well, I can't remember the name. There's a small airline that flies from here to Florida, does daytime or goes to Orlando, but they just go to Sanford. They don't go to MCO, which means if we went on them, we had to get a different way to Disney World from there. Had to rent a car, rent a van. That's how I found out how expensive it was to do that, or at least not cheap. This has been several years ago. Hey, James, when you're sitting down watching the screen, I'll show you how much I've got done on my rocket in a minute. I haven't finished it. I've been trying to film it and then figure out how to splice the film together and get that out so I can produce it. But I'll have to show it to you, at least what I've done so far. Yeah, I really like Southwest. And I can remember when Delta was, I've flown on Delta a few times, and I can remember when they were one of the best airlines out there. I hear people, maybe their reputation isn't quite as good as it once was, but I used to know some folks that worked for Delta too, and they were mechanics. And, they really liked the company back then too. JetBlue, I've heard a lot of things about, good and bad. So, but I've also heard they were, reasonably priced to fly on. Wow, that's pretty cheap. Is that from New York to Florida? $55 round trip. That would be hard to pass up. I wonder where they go into down there. Yeah, Southwest is. Oh, well, I didn't think about you going to Boston. I guess that's probably closer. I haven't heard anything since Thursday. I guess it was Thursday, Lynn. He was on the phone again last night with somebody for a moment. Carlos was on for Pete, he was substituting for Pete again last night, and he called just for a minute to ask somebody a hot seat question, which I guess is to say he's fighting back the best way Pete does. And he's definitely a fighter. He's been through. I'm almost ashamed to even say I've had problems. I mean, I feel like he's gone through so much more and handled it probably better than anybody I've ever seen, all things considered. And I just hope it, this time they get it and maybe he can finally work through this. That's terrible. I don't want to say disease because it's really not a disease so much as I don't know. They call it a fungus or is it a virus? MRSA? It's a bad cracker. I know that. I'm almost worried that COVID can get as resilient as MRSA. MRSA is hard to stop. And it seems like the longer we wait here on COVID, maybe the stronger it's going to get. But I won't go down that path. I know nobody wants to talk about that sort of thing. So we live that enough. But that's how viruses are. He does do that. And I suspect he's in pain a lot more than we know, or a lot more than he shows. Hey, Sean. Good morning, sir. Pain can beat you up. I know. I've let it beat me down quite a lot over the years, and it's not a friend. But Pete does an excellent job of. Hey, you knew what it was? Hey, that's my Whiskey Rebellion flag for sure. That's I found that, and that's one of the few Whiskey Rebellion flags that they truly know existed, because there's one left in a Pennsylvania pub somewhere. I can't remember the town, but they've actually got it framed. Well, I appreciate that, Lynn, and I know I don't know. I just feel undeserving sometimes, I guess. And Pete certainly deserves all he can get. He's been through hell, literally, pardon my French, but he's he's one of those, to me, and I don't know him as well as some, but he's a good man that has had a really bad turn, and it's been rough. I can't imagine how hard it's been on his family. But, I know I've had my share, but it just, I don't know. It's different. I have trouble accepting that, I guess. I don't know. I never felt I was deserving, I suppose. But I appreciate your thoughts and prayers and concerns, and it does mean the world to me. And it's helped, since after I had to retire and sat around here feeling sorry for myself that was before my back went totally out. For 6 or 8 months, I discovered this YouTube community, and it's made the world of difference. It brought me out of a pretty dark tunnel. Like I said, pain can get you down and ride you hard, and I don't know, it just takes all the life out of you. And again, I'm not trying to blow my horn or take anything away from anybody else, but for 10 years or so, I'd been on some pretty hard pain medicines. And so once I went off of that, unfortunately, the pain didn't go away. Just the medication just went away. So the last year or so without that was pretty rough. And that's still the case, although at least I got something fixed. It's getting better. I actually managed to walk across the room with just a cane earlier today. I'm pretty shaky, but I can do it. So I'm getting there. Well, James, I'd be honored. I can't wait till that day happens. You honor me by even saying that. I can't wait to shake your hand and get out and have some fun at Disney World. That's one of my favorite places in the world. Hey, Dean, good morning, sir. Gobble gobble, as Mike Wheeler might say. Yeah, I can't wait, James. I really want to do that. It's funny. I've probably said this. I know a lot of us have experienced this, but for years, I've been a Disney fan since I was growing up. Wonderful World of Disney, Wonderful World of Color, all that stuff was just, I thought, the greatest thing ever. And I watched Walt Disney introduce things like the Pirates of the Caribbean and, the World's Fair shows and just all their other shows, and gobbles and giggles. Anyway, and couldn't wait to go to Disney World. And remember when they started building it? I was in the first or second grade, and thought I had a girlfriend, that lived down the street or road from us, and she moved away right in the middle of whatever grade that was. And because her dad was taking a job building it down at Disney World to help build Disney World. And so the first time I got to go was in the early 70s, a couple of years after they opened, and been going back and forth ever since. But when the kids were old enough and we started going regularly, most of the people I knew didn't understand that. They didn't see the point. They'd go once and, yeah, that was enough. For my family could never figure out why I would want to go to Disney World so often. And, but we loved it. I mean, and you can't, if somebody doesn't understand that, then it's hard to explain it. I mean, one thing I think I've learned about most of the people who are like me and like us, or, one thing you got to believe in, and that's the magic. If you don't feel the magic, if you don't believe in magic, it might be harder to just go down there and accept what it has to offer. And if you get away from the money and the cost and all that, which is realistic and real, just to be down there and be a kid again, or just feel like you have no worries even for a day, it's just an amazing feeling for me. I love it. I can't get enough. I can't wait to go back. It's been too long since I've been back, and now I'm ready to go. And I'm retired, and I thought I'd be going more now. I'm not. So that's going to change. Okay, enough about me. You guys tell me something about your experiences. I've got to find a picture. Back when I was still in high school, I was a photographer, did a lot of photography. I won't say I was a photographer. That sounds like I'm bragging, but I did a lot of photographs for people and different things, shot for a local school newspaper and maybe occasionally in a regular newspaper. But we had our own dark room, and I shot a lot of black and white film back then, and some color slides, but mostly black and white film. And I went to Florida, I think the first time in 72 or 73. And a friend of mine was a pilot, so we went flying, and we flew down to Orlando from north of Jacksonville. And we flew over Disney World. I believe they were still building Space Mountain when we flew over. And I've got pictures of that somewhere. And I got to dig that up, because if I still do, I want to photocopy that and post it, just because that's my earliest photograph of Disney World. I agree, James. That is exactly correct. That's well put. If you believe, then you don't need to explain. If you don't believe, if somebody doesn't believe, you can't explain it to them. They just don't get it. And if they don't feel it, when they go, then I feel sorry for them, to be honest, and that's the way it is. But I mentioned the other day, I think on one of the chats, that my brother and his wife went down one time. Now, they don't have any kids and probably won't have any kids, and he's a little bit younger than I am. But they went down for a few days, and all they really came away remembering was, in their opinion, or my sister-in-law's opinion, was it was stroller hell. That's all they could think about, was all the kids and strollers parked everywhere. And I thought that, what a sad commentary on their visit, that's what stuck in their mind, was strollers. Dean, if you don't believe in turkey legs, I'm sorry, but I need an explanation. I'm not sure. Now, you need to ask Lynn about that, because I heard her saying that it's the tendons. It's all about the tendons. And I'll agree, that's probably not the most pleasant part of a turkey leg. But well, maybe not as fanatical as you, Dean. I do like turkey legs. Hey, Carol, are you back home now, safe and sound? I wonder if we could ever talk anybody into having a turkey leg eat off with Jeff. Lynn. You just gotta eat around them. First place I ever saw those giant turkey legs was at a Renaissance fair years ago, down near Nashville. And then we went to Disney, and lo and behold, they had them then. So, we usually get one at least while we're down there. Probably not up to Dean's standards on total numbers of turkey legs consumed, but we always usually share at least one. I'm sure he'd gladly take you up on that, Lynn. Man, that coffee is going down fast today. I think I hit the right combination this morning. I think Dean should be nominated for turkey legs, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like the head of the turkey leg department at Disney, or the Turkey Legster Society or something. Oh, that's interesting, Carkey. I wonder if they do their own roasting. There's a few places around here that actually roast their own beans. So they get raw beans in, roast them the way they like them, and then bag them up and sell them with their name on them. And some of them, they're really good too. I always say the freshest way you can get coffee is if you buy whole beans and grind them, crack them up yourself. But I guess if you really want to be serious, if you get them in fresh from whomever and roast them and then do it, you're even better. Oh, car keys. So Carol, about yeah, they do, Sean. So about Pioneer Sugar as well, and they still exist, huh? That's interesting. I wonder how long they've been around. Well, Lynn, there's hope for you yet. Or maybe there was hope. Okay, Lynn, is that the thumb? Let's see, let me get it right here. This hand. That's the thumb. Is it like this or is it like this? I can't remember. I think it's like this, isn't it? See, for Tennessee, if you want to do the hand thing, you just do this. It's just long and skinny. Wow, Lynn, you just came up points in Dean's book. The fact that you have had turkey legs, well, makes a big difference. And his, he's marked you down in his book now as probably a good person. And compared to the Zingerman's, I mean, how does the Keurig stand up to that? Is it decent? I'll be honest with you. I've had Keurig a few times, and I'm not that crazy about it. But I don't really like pre-ground coffee much. So, well, guys, you've challenged me now. I'm gonna have to look and find out where it is. Roswell, Michigan, maybe. I don't know where that's at, but there it is, right there. Bay City, Michigan looks like where their offices are. Oh wow, another one, Karki. I didn't realize, Carol, you were also a vegetarian or a vegan, whichever. Arlene is a vociferous, I believe she says, or I don't know. She says it better than I do. She eats fish. See, it's good to have James around. His analytical lawyer mind thinks about these things in advance. That's good. That's good. You probably ought to pay attention to that, Dean. It'd be good advice. Pescatarian. That's it. Well, I knew it had something to do with fish. Close enough. We knew what it meant. Answer James' question, Lynn. I'll be the judge here. Come to order. And the witness will answer the question or be held in contempt. Turkeytarian. Yes, you are, Dean. You may be the first official turkeytarian I've ever met. Oh, Carol, you had to bring that up. Why'd you have to say that again? I slept last night, didn't have that in my dreams. Oh, you've ruined it again. I don't, he keeps saying he's finished showing those pictures, but they keep popping up. Not sure where they're going to pop up next or who they're going to be. But Emma Watson, Dean as Emma Watson was, well, I wasn't ready for that. Nothing personal, Dean. Just, Emma Watson. Come on. Yeah, you said that before, Dean. I'm not sure I believe that. I was a gullible and a sucker at first, but not so sure now. Yeah. Let's get the wording correct, Dean. We'll be sicking the lawyer on you next. Dean, as an official witness, do you think 3 turkey legs would have been enough to, set the record straight, or is that just a red herring to be chased down the road by inexperienced lawyers and laymen? Oh, Dean, just the fact that you said that means you have them. Oh, my goodness. So we know Carol's already been out to swimming lessons this morning. Does anybody else have any plans for the day? Yeah, we don't believe you, Dean. That's the problem. We did for a while, and then we found out that that trust was definitely misguided. Oh, that was me that was talking about the Death Wish coffee. It's something new I'm trying. I just discovered it. They actually ran a Super Bowl ad 2 or 3 years ago. I think that's when they kind of had their. I'm not sure when they opened or began, but you can look it up. Death Wish coffee. I'm trying to get one of their flags. They have a flag that looks kind of similar to my pirate flag back here, which is for another backdrop I have planned. But that behind me is supposed to be what some think is the first original pirate flag, or Jolly Roger. And I'm trying to remember who the pirate was. Bartholomew something. I can't remember his last name. Thank you, James, for putting that in the chat. That is true, Glenn and James, what you said. That's okay. I knew it was me, so. What? Carol, we mean LOD. Is that? Oh, old. I like them. I've got some old. I've got a couple. I wouldn't say I did collect them until I started finding some of these. And when I found the Whiskey Rebellion flag, I thought, oh, I got to have that. And I've had smaller pirate flags in the past, and I've got a couple of the old Betsy Ross type centennial flags, or the 13 stars and bars thing from the Revolutionary period. But I don't have any old ones. I just have new made stuff. I probably couldn't afford anything old. So the one thing I'd like that I have collected in the past that's old, I can't afford to do anymore. So somebody said that doesn't make me much of a collector, and that's probably true. But that's just the way life is. Dean. You're too funny, bud. Turkey legs and reface, though. That's you. That certainly is. You know, the bad thing about that, Carol, the flag thing is there's a couple of flags I wouldn't mind having, and I don't want to get too deep into a political discussion, but they've been turned into things that I just don't know if I can, that I support enough to have the flags. There's a few. The Gadsden flag was, I wouldn't mind having a Gadsden flag, but that seems to have become a political emblem now that I don't really want to support necessarily. So I don't know. It's hard to figure some of these things out. No, Lynn. That's just two. There's two Funkos back there, and I blame that on the Monarch Moments. I won those back around Christmas. They had some kind of trivia contest, and I won that. And I blame them for starting the addiction. So far, I've held it off. I used to think I collected Disney pins until I saw Donna's and Meg's collections, and they just put my poor little pin collection to shame. Although I've got a couple they don't have. This set right here turned out to be my greatest achievement, I think, so far. If you can see that or not, but it was a monorail set that came out in 2009, and turns out it was a very limited edition, and I didn't even realize it when I got it. Oh, I know, James. That's what worries me. Black Flag, Sean. I think I saw a couple of episodes of that. I'd probably need to go back and watch some of that again. When I was still working a few years back, I had a bunch of young kids, compared to me anyway, that fresh out of college age interns that we had, and we were out on the boat and out on the lake a lot. That's part of my job, was patrolling the lakes and doing environmental inspections and that sort of thing. And so over the course of a couple of summers, they started calling me Captain Tim, and they started giving me pirate stuff. They'd go to McDonald's or someplace and get a hook. Somebody gave me a hook from my hand, and some McDonald's pirate toys that came out, Pirates of the Caribbean. And over the years, I've collected a few things like this, for example, that my kids or my wife has given me for Christmas or birthdays or something like that. So I've got a few pirate things, and I have a Pirates of the Caribbean flag that hangs on my door. It's smaller than these back here, but I'm going to get me another one. Like I said, I'm looking. Death Wish has one. I'm going to get one of theirs because it has a skull and crossbones on it too. What made these, James or whoever, Lynn? What makes these Funko Pops interesting to me is that they're both Mandalorian pin, or one of them's Mandalorian, the other one's R2D2, and I like Star Wars, and I like Mandalorian, so I thought those were cool, and I just happened to win them one night on there, and they sent them to me, so I have them now. But so far, I've controlled the urge to go out and buy more. Honestly, I think my wife would kill me if I started collecting Funkos too. Yeah, Carol, that's kind of how I got started, and pretty much have been collecting my pins when I'm at Disney World, and most of my pins came from Disney World. If they didn't come from Disney World, then I ordered them, offline from. I got a few pins from the Disney Movie Club, and then a few pins probably from like Shop Disney or something. And I never have really been much of a trader. For one thing, when I buy a pen, I usually don't buy it to trade, and I just never have. And plus, I didn't know enough to know if I was getting real pens or not. And but I think pens are neat. They're just really, well, like Meg or somebody said, they're little works of art, and I really like them. I think they're really cool. I've got a bunch of motorcycle pins and stuff too that I've posted some of those online, and some other events I've gone to that don't have anything to do with Disney, motorcycling or racing related. So some of those are sort of one-offs that I'll probably never be able to get again. So that's kind of cool. Oh, I didn't miss that Dean was leaving. Sorry about that. Well, if he's still here, Dean, bye. Thanks for coming by, and have a great day. Sorry I missed you. I was too busy gabbing. What time is it, folks? Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Well, I suppose I don't want to keep everybody too long. People have things to do on a day like this. Yeah, that'd be a good idea, Lynn. That's what I should have done too, something like that. And then I probably could have gotten into trading more. I have a bad habit of buying stuff and sometimes putting it off till I find just the ones I want, not just pens, but other things too. So I don't tend to trade a lot. Usually when I get something, I get it to keep, and so I've struggled with that a little bit. You can't just, if you're going to get into pen trading, you have to actually trade pens. You have to be willing to trade, and I just haven't gotten there yet. But then again, like I said, I don't have nearly that many either. So I thought I had quite a few, and I probably have a few dozen, and that's nothing. Oh, James, before we go, let me show you. I meant to show you this earlier. I don't know if this will show up well or not, but this is how much of the rocket I've gotten done so far. I'm getting ready to, this is the lower end. See, yeah, that's the lower end, and this is the upper end. I think I'm ready to start bag 5, and I'm trying to film it and get it online, and I haven't finished it yet. I was trying to take my time and film it, but anyway, I'm getting there. Yeah, it's coming along. I'm impressed. I'll be honest with you, I've got big fingers, and I've worked all my life with my hands and my fingers, but on different kind of materials, usually harder stuff, bolts and nuts and screws and sheet metal. And so it's different. It's easy and hard. You got to pay attention to the directions. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't read the directions. I always read the directions first. And, having to learn how to snap things together without snapping them too hard. But it's coming. I said I'll probably finish it up in a few days. I'm ready to get it finished. I just been trying to film it and put that online as I go, and I'm having a little trouble learning how to edit and splice together the time lapse stuff with the regular speed film or video and that sort of thing. But I'll get there eventually. Thanks, James. I appreciate you coming in. I really do appreciate you being here, sir. It means the world to me when you show up, and I can't wait till we get to Disney together and maybe drink a toast to life in general and Disney World in particular, and shake hands in front of the castle. Oh, yeah, that's you got to be careful about that, Carol. That's for sure. Yeah, that's good, James. That's good to know. It's something I've been trying to pay attention to with when they do a pin show on like Meg or somebody else, because I've got my oldest pins are from the late 90s, and they're marked differently on the back than the newer ones are. The newer ones are easy, and maybe that's why they did that, but the newer ones are easy to tell that they're real. And some of my older ones aren't quite as sophisticated as far as the back markings go and the casting. They're Disney. I got them all at Disney World, but they're just not quite the same as the new ones. I think the new ones are better in that regard because it's a little easier maybe not to be fooled. Like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff that's not Disney anyway, so I guess if it's a decent pen, I'd probably keep it, but just realize it's not worth anything. Not worth as much as some of the others are. I know this monorail pen set is worth about 3 times what we paid for it, and I just need one completer pen, which I'll probably never find because it was only sold in like a frame set. So I doubt I'll ever get it. I didn't realize that probably years ago when I was really should have looked for it, and I was just thrilled to have it. Okay, we can wrap up. I know there's other people online this morning. I saw Kelly and Mama Mouse were on live from the Disney. They were live from the Magic Kingdom getting rained on, really rained on. And I know Carlos was on this morning, so I hate to take people away from those guys. They're established. I know people are going to probably go to them before they come to me, so I hate to take people away from them. Well, not that I'm really taking a lot of people away, but, I don't want to feel like I'm stepping on toes. And I thank Lynn again for, kind of allowing me to have their space. That's true, Lynn. I've said that too. It's if you like it, then the heck with it. That's what really matters. But you know what I meant. And I guess maybe that is my downfall when it comes to pen trading and stuff. I usually buy because I like it. I don't necessarily buy it because I see a value in it in the future. Well, Tina, I appreciate that. I really do. I'll get there. We'll get there over time. And, if Lynn and Triple P or Josh decide to come back on Saturday mornings, I'll find another spot in time. Maybe sometime during the week, I'll start doing a coffee show. But I'll do that, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll check that out. And Lynn, thanks for coming by. Sean, Tina, Carol. Thanks everybody for coming by, and I really appreciate you being here. And I appreciate that, Carol. I really do. And like, as long as I'm here, I'll try to make things at least somewhat interesting. If nothing else, the cat will be here, and everybody likes the cat, so I can get him to come around. All right, Tina, thank you. All right, everybody, have a great Saturday. Hit the like button if you did. If you don't like it, then hit the no like button and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, and maybe they'll go out. I don't know if anybody gets a notification yet or not. So I don't know how all that logarithm stuff works. I'm new and small and coming. So kitty, hashtag kitty butt. That's right. That's exactly right. In his case, he's got a big butt. So anyway, thanks everybody. I really do appreciate you being here. It means the world to me. And everybody have a good weekend and have a great Saturday. And hopefully you're not in a part of the world. If you're snowed in, then be careful and be safe. And hopefully everything will go all right. And if you're not, then go out and have some fun. Enjoy the sunshine. You guys in Florida can go out, and if it's not raining, you can enjoy some warm weather. So anyway, I'm going to shut her down, folks. And I appreciate you being here. And thanks everybody again. I'll see y'all next week. And hopefully I'll see y'all later today or tomorrow and next week in different streams around the YouTube world. So see you then. Bye-bye.